Hi, my name is Amethyst Trelevin, and this is reading Psychic Ogham reading number 796 for my client whose initials are CS. Thank you, CS, for trusting me to read for you. You asked me 3 questions in particular. One was around business and were you supporting the right audience. We're going to talk a fair bit about that actually. One was, were you moving to a better home? And the third one was about romance. And we'll answer those when we get here, but first let's give it all a little bit of context for you, and we'll start here. This is quirt or apple, and this is in the position within the spread that themes your whole reading, and I'm really excited to see this one here because I really like this, and in the light of your questions this is fantastic. Quirt or apple is very much about living life in such a way that it feeds your soul, that it nurtures your purpose in life, that it makes your heart sing. Now, you're a practical person. You balance fairly well between the practicalities of life, i.e. the need to make enough income to support yourself, because you know that that gives you choices, but you balance that very well normally with the understanding and the deliberate action to support yourself, your soul, your heart. For you, it's about doing things in such a way that provides service to community, as well as making a living, I guess. So that's really important. We're going to come back to that several times as we go through this reading. Over here on this side, these are the 3 staves that represent the last 12 months, and that's themed with this stave here, which is Alda or Fien. Now, Alda is about giving and receiving advice and support. Now, you didn't tell me what your business is all about. I don't know what it's all about, but I'm sensing that it's about servicing other people. It's about giving to other people. It's about offering other people a way to resolve challenges in their life. And this is great. These 2 underneath that, ivy here or gort, is very much about survival. What this kind of tells me is that the last year for you, particularly financially, has been a little bit tough. It's certainly not been as productive as you thought it would be. But you've coped. That's what you do. You cope pretty well. You're pretty good at coping. Ivy also tells me, though, that you are someone who you put on a brave smile, and that's your face to the world, but underneath that sometimes you're feeling a little bit sad and a little bit empty, and you've also begun to question your motivation in this last year as well. Sitting over the top of that is you, or Aho. Now, Aho is very much about transition and change, but it's about transition and change that you put into place. It's about how you impact on the world. So it's not about how other people or situations impact on you. It's about the approaches and the decisions that you make to that impact on other people. And you have made some decisions in the last year, particularly around business, that have impacted on other people. But you've also, more importantly, you're beginning to make some changes about the way you approach the world, about how you see the world and what your place in the world is. But that's going to continue, and we'll talk about that when we get here. In the middle here we have Dewar or Oak, and this is about this is sitting in the position of what's happening for you right now in life. This is about stability and strength and determination. But what it also tells me is that you have begun to feel a little bit tired. You are somebody who's very goal orientated. You are passionate about what you do, and you're motivated usually to what you do. But in the last few weeks, maybe even a little bit longer, that passion, motivation, that drive that you have is just a little bit tired. The shine has gone off things just a little bit. And here we'll talk about why that is. These 4 staves here talk very much about the future, and they are themed with this stave here, which is aspen. Now, aspen is traditionally about fear or doubt. Now, before you get concerned, there is nothing in your year ahead to fear, let me say that. But what this is saying is that at the moment there is an undercurrent for you of doubt about where am I going, why am I doing, I'm not quite sure that I'm on the right track. And I'll just briefly talk about all of these and then we'll draw this together. Underneath here we have heather. Love to see heather there. Heather is about love primarily, but it's about partnership, companionship. It's about dedication and devotion. Now that's not necessarily to someone else, but quite often that's about appreciation for self and a developing appreciation for self. And over the top of this, really excited to see this one here as well, is willow or sale. Now these two have a fantastic relationship, and they're coupled, and these two have a fantastic relationship as well. Now remember we talked about here the one that's theming your whole reading, and it's apple, and it's about working in a relation, working with the world in such a way that you support and nurture your soul. Willow is about the magic within you. It's about water and femininity. It's about flexibility. It's about your ability to be flexible enough to take on new ways, not about doing practical things, but about ways that nurture and support your soul. So it's about using the practicality of life in order to nurture your soul, but also it's about seeing new ways of seeing love and appreciation, particularly for self. And then down the bottom here we have Muin or Vine. And this kind of cements this whole reading for me, really, for you. Vine is about reward, and it's about reaping what you sow. It's about goal orientation and outcomes. And Vine is also quite strict. While it says, yeah, here's all of the rewards for what you sowed, here is what you're reaping from all of the seeds that you previously sowed. It also has a downside, which is that it kind of smacks you in the face and says, if you might have goals and you might have targets that you want to go for, but you actually have to do something about that in order to get the outcome. You know that already, and I think I'm speaking to the converted when I say that. So let's tie these 4 together and come up with some answers to the questions that you asked, because I think there's some really quite vibrant information here for you. You asked me specifically about your business and whether you were supporting and targeting the right audience with that business. I actually think there's a slightly different question that needs to be asked there that comes through from here. It's not about whether you are targeting the right audience, but it's about whether you are targeting the business to support yourself. Remember these two here. So I'm going to ask you about your goals. Remember, Heather is Muin or Vine is sitting here, and it's about goals. I get the sense very much that you are a goal-orientated person, and that when you have a goal, you go for it. But what I want to ask you is, are your goals about the business and about life in general, but specifically in terms of your question about business, are they current? Are the goals for your business current? That's actually the real question. Because what I'm being told very clearly here is that whilst you have a goal for the business, and you tend to go for that really, really well, that it may not be as current and therefore as relevant as it could be, and so that you're working towards this goal when in actual fact you need to be working towards this goal. Now, why do I say that? Because the goal for you for business is really important, because your business helps to identify who you are. You use your business as an identifier of self. For you, your business is incredibly important because it serves other people, and your part of your role in life, part of your purpose, is to serve other people. So you love your business. But the goal of the business also needs to be supportive of you, not just of the community or the audience or the tribe that you serve, but of you. Because remember, you've got this one here that talks about, for you, life is very much about how you support and nourish your soul. So I'm going to ask you, please, to go to the business goals that you have, and I want you to look at whether they are still current and whether they are supportive of your soul. And I think you'll find that they need to be just slightly modified and updated. And once you modify them and update them, you'll see that the audience, the tribe that you've been targeting your business to, also needs to be modified, just needs to be shifted sideways. And that's fantastic, because the existing audience or the existing tribe that you have can be the leverage that you can use to grow into this new audience, which overlaps your existing audience, by the way, but that just has another factor to it. And so I'm hoping that you understand what I'm saying, that whilst your question was about are you pitching the business to the right audience, the real question really needs to be, are you pitching the business to your current goals that support you? Once you have those current goals in place that support and nurture your soul, then you'll see that your audience actually needs to be shifted. And once you've done that, you have renewed energy, renewed vision, renewed motivation in the business. And instead of having that hard work and slog kind of feeling, you feel much more rejuvenated and ready to go again. Your second question was about will you be moving house, or will you be living in a better home? I don't see that in the next 12 months, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. But because we have this here, what I'm being told, particularly by Muin or by Vine here, is that you remember how goal-orientated you are. There will be the opportunity for living in a better environment, in a better home, in 18 months' time, if you begin to set that goal in 6 months' time. So I'll try and make that a bit clearer. Inside the next 12 months, the staves do not show you living in a better home. But if you begin the process in 6 months' time of writing the goal and working towards the new home, it will come to pass in 12 months thereafter. So in other words, 18 months from now. And it's going to be a great place, and you're really going to love it. But what you think is a better home now is actually not where you end up, and that's why you need that 6-month gap before you start working for it, because what you think is a better home, the style of that you finally go into, is really quite different than what you think you want now. And finally, you asked me about romance. Now that's an interesting word that you used, because whilst we have Heather here, which is about love, it is absolutely not about romance. That's a different stave. So my answer to your question is, I can very clearly see here that inside the next 12 months, there is no long-term, stable, loving, nurturing relationship that's coming up for you, I'm afraid. But there is a whole bunch of fun and excitement and experiences and relationships, short-term and shallow though they might be, but that give you lots and lots of smiles, lots and lots of laughter. We can see that in here. And they give you great experiences which you can then use to grow who you are. So I'm encouraging you to not discount those short-term shallow relationships, because whilst they might not give you what you actually want, which is a much longer-term, secure, safe, happy, long-term relationship, they do actually build who you are. With all of that said, I do see a long-term, stable companion partnership, relationship, love factor coming into your life. But again, it's not within the next year, it's within the next 2 years. And it's around that time that you move house. And in fact, those two are quite linked. So I'm encouraging you in the next year to enjoy the experiences that you have with people rather than seeing them as a means to a longer term relationship. Now, your Druid Animal Oracle card is the Ram, which is quite interesting. Ram or Riath, he's got a duality of focus. He's an animal, he kind of prefers routine. You like that stability, but you also get excited by and stimulated by change and by challenge as well. And the Ram is, he's the absolute epiphany of breaking free from torment and breaking free from the walls of stagnation. He's a fantastic druid animal for that breaking out, if you like. Ram is also a guide that assists you on that journey through breaking out of old habits. And remember, this is also related to what I talked about here about revisiting those old goals and not necessarily being so attached to them that you can't see that there is a need to modify and change them so that they're more current. Ram will actually help you do that. He will help you butt through those walls that keep you in old goals. Ram has a strength and capacity to give you the determination to do that as well. So he's pretty damn fabulous, I think. Okay, so that's Ram. I encourage you to have a look at him. Now, also, when you put all of that together, really important that you focus again on those goals that we talked about, refocus them, rejuvenate them by modifying them for what is important for you in the future. I hope that answers your questions, CS, and I hope that gives you the ability to make some fantastic decisions to support a really exciting 12 months ahead.